So this ball has just been going off like randomly at odd times, and it might be paranormal activity. Who knows? Anyway, it's probably not, but maybe it is. We don't know. Science lies about a lot of things. Lots of things. Like magnetism, electromagnetism. I don't know how they're lying exactly, but they ain't telling us the whole truth. You ain't gotta be smart enough to figure it out to know what the truth is, to know that someone's lying, is all I'm saying. And I know when people are lying, and they're lying and bullshitting, and they don't know. Because they're not smart enough to know, usually. And it's like, even when geniuses try to explain it to regular people, they don't get it. And people don't like it when people are smarter than them. There it goes! It just went off. What the fuck? I can't believe it. Yo, I didn't think it was gonna go off in front of the camera. That is crazy. I wasn't even looking at it. Oh shit, what was that? You just saw it right here. I don't know how to even set that off remotely. That's like a $1 ball. That's like from the dollar store. It doesn't have a remote. It just happened again. I'm not touching it. I was just pointing. Look, my fingers, like, you can't really see, but it was like if I'm like next to it, it'd be in the shade. My fingers in the, you see how the light goes into the room, so that's good proof right there. You know what I'm saying? If I was touching it, my finger would be in the dark. I was like, my finger was up here. You can't really tell like how the distance is. So you might be thinking I'm trying to trick you, but I can't trick you. Man, I can't believe it went off twice in a fucking row. That's so crazy, man. Like, what is it? A spirit? What kind of forces am I dealing with? I can't go to science, and I can't go to anybody because they'll just call me crazy. I don't even want to fucking post this shit. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this video. Is the government going to come get me? Do I have psychic powers? Is it my mind setting it off? Or is it just going off like by random happenstance? Which doesn't, I mean, maybe that's a possibility. I'm not going to be like, yeah, that's not possible, but it's really fucking funky. Like, the times it's been going off, like, oh my god, it just went, look, I'm not touching it. This is freaking really kind of concerning me a little bit because I don't know what I'm dealing with at all. Is it like something behind me? Like, if I had like a 3D like imaging, would there be like a fucking, oh my god, what's there something in the window? Like, I don't know, it's just my hats. That looks like there was something in the window, but it's just my hats. Don't worry about that. Those are just hats. That's not a person peeping, I don't think. It's kind of like a person. Ah, it freaked me out for a second. I was like, good Lord Almighty. Oh, let's see if it goes off again. Like, I'm really not touching it, man. I think, yeah, it went off. It's going off like once a minute. Once a minute. Like, is it, what's going on? Like, is it, because it doesn't normally do that. I had this ball for a very long, it's been like a year I had this ball. And it did it again. It's never done it this often. It's like on camera. It's like stunting. Man, if I wish I had like a fucking infrared camera so I could see if there was something behind me. I mean, I don't know. It's not apparent to me. Oh my god, like, it usually goes for longer than that, man. That's fucking, this is crazy. There's paranormal activity going on behind me, folks. And this is not it either. This is just what I can capture. I've had stuff fly off my shelf. And it, like, you could be like, oh, that's just gravity. Oh my lord. It's like, nope, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking trying to give me some signs or something from beyond the pale or from another dimension. We don't even know about this stuff, man, like, at all. Man, this is really freaking me out, man. Whew. This like whole video, I just got the inspiration to do it as soon as I saw the ball. Like, and I was gonna give a friend a text message, but I was like, he's just gonna think I'm crazy. Everyone's just gonna, and there it goes again. bing, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. It's stunting. It's never gone off like this. It's never gone off like this. I had it for a very long time. I just was using it to juggle right before this started happening. You know what I'm saying? And it was only going off when it was supposed to. It's a motion ball, and you have to whack it pretty good. Let's see if it goes off by. Yeah, like usually I can turn it on by myself by whacking it, but I'm not whacking it. And you gotta whack it pretty good to turn it on too. So like it's not like sensitive enough to where air perturbations or breeze or anything like that's going on. In case you were wondering, if there's a strong breeze in this room, there's no fan going. The fan's on the ceiling and it's still, and there's no other fans in the room. Just the air, the windows open. I was kind of like, maybe you won't do it because it's in sunlight was a concern, but there's like, it's not indirect sunlight. I don't think it's just residual sunlight. It's sunset, and they say that's high time for spiritual activity. Maybe spirits are things to be feared, but maybe they are not. And I have, to be honest with you, I had some shadow people show up, and that was pretty scary. And like when I was sleeping, it came in my room. That sounds crazy. I know. I thought I was having nightmares for the first 2 times because it was just one person standing. I thought there was somebody standing in my room. And I was like frozen in my bed. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What's going on? Is there somebody in my room? I can't move. What the fuck?" And then I passed back out because I was like, "I'm gonna fucking start to move." You know, I was like trying to resist it, and I passed back out. And there's 2 of them came the next time on. They were closer this time too. It was like barely 1 last time. And this time there's 2. They're like bam, bam. So I'm fucking like, what the heck is going on? And maybe like I should start praying or something. And I passed back out. You know what I'm saying? I was like trying to think of solutions. You know, because I guess they don't want you thinking about anything but being scared. And it was really scared because I was frozen. And then the 3rd time, they messed up kind of because like I had moved it when I was in my sleep. So I was like facing more towards where they were. And like my body was like almost primed to where like when I woke up and I saw it, like I opened my eyes and I was like, this is not in a fucking dream because I still see shit. Like there's still 3 shadow people this time, and one of them was wearing like a hat. You know what I'm saying? Like a fucking fedora type hat, kind of bullshit. Like a CI. He looked like a fucking FBI agent's shadow or some shit like that, and 2 henchmen behind him. And then I jumped up out of bed to turn the light on, and they start like coming at me really fast. Barely get to the light, turn it on, and they even said boo like right before I turned the light on. I was like, oh, and I turned the light on, and I was sitting there like just clinging to it, like what the fuck just happened? What was that? And yeah, so like, and people think I'm crazy, but that really happened. Just like this ball, it stopped going off. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with the goddamn shadow people, because that did not feel like, this kind of feels a little benign, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel scary so much, you know. It's like, what the fuck, you know, what's going on? You know, why this doesn't add up to current scientific thinking. Just ball shouldn't be going off by itself, you know, without anything acting on it to make it go off, because that's how it goes. That's motion ball. You know, it's not just go off timer ball or go off randomly. You know, it's, yeah, that's how you turn it on. So, and you gotta like swack it, you know what I'm saying, like, or drop it. You know, that's the only times I've seen it go on. Like if I'm just moving it around in my hand, like I'll show it to you next time. Like it doesn't usually go off unless you're jerking it all around. It's the center ball. There's a little center ball in here, and yeah, it usually doesn't go off even if you're just moving it around. Even pretty good. You can move it around pretty good. It don't go off. You throw it, and there it went off that last time. But you know, it's because I was like catching it. And I don't know. Sometimes it's more sensitive than others, but never sensitive enough to usually where it's going off on its own. You know what I mean? So it's something to think about. This video is going on 10 minutes. And unless I'm gonna keep it going for a little bit while long, see if it goes off. But you know, if it don't go off pretty soon, I gotta go do a little bit of working out and take a walk while look at the sun's going down. Take a little bike ride, get some exercise in. Cause if it is some fucking spirits or some demons, or you gotta be strong in your body, your mind, and your soul. And if you want to fight them, and I know that, like if there is, like if you believe in like ultimate good and evil, there can't be no sitting on the fence. Like I don't know whether I'm good or evil, because then the evil spirits will just freaking take you, because you don't have any convictions to defend yourself with. You're just like, I don't know what's going on. They'll just trick you immediately. Like it'll offer you safety, and then it'll be like a trap. And you'll be like, oh, I don't know what's going on with the spiritual world, because nobody will tell you jack shit about what's going on with the spiritual world. And then anybody who tries to is labeled as crazy. So it's hard to even find anything. Like I'm trying to like do a little research, and this bunch of fucking maniacs usually just telling stories. People love to lie. It's a bunch of hacks. But that's really going on. Like, it's not happening. It seems like the spirit got bored or whatever the fuck it is. You see, it's not like a thing that just happens a lot, though. You know what I mean? So it would keep on happening a lot if it was just like maybe it's running out of battery or something. So that's what it does when it runs out of battery. But it doesn't appear. Oh my god! It almost went off as soon as I fucking picked it up. It was kind of crazy. I don't know. I gotta rerun the video, but it didn't seem like I set that one off. Like once I could see like stuff like that combined with the shadow people really what got me looking into it, honestly, because if that happened you'd be shit damn sure, like if you woke up in the middle of the night and you fucking your dreams were still there, and they said something. It's just boo, and it wasn't even a scary boo like boo, it was like boo, like almost a desperate, like fucking, like they knew that they were screwed, because I was up and moving and the light was right there in my hands, and I was about just turning the switch when they said that. I was like, yeah, just like, because I had broke my bedside table lamp, so I had to jump up and grab like one of those standing, and it was the very top one. So I was like, yeah, I've never moved that fast, except for when a snapping turtle came up between my legs when I was a little kid. I might have moved fast then, but people said I was flying on top of the water. I don't know. We don't have it on camera. I was a kid at the time, but that's pretty scary too. A snapping turtle coming up right between your legs. And I was doing a back paddle. It came up. I was like, oh man, hell no. Because it might have saw my willy and thought it was a fish or a worm and tried to get it. So I was trying to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? And, that was a bad case. But I got up out of there unharmed. I'm just saying, you want to be strong in mind, body, and spirit. Because these freaking demons are coming. Or something's coming, something bad, or maybe it's not bad, I don't know, but in case it is bad, you gotta be ready. I don't say like it probably is good and bad, and it's probably like people, really, like there's some good people and there's some bad people, and most people are somewhere in between, and they're on a journey, and they might get redeemed, or they might go into villainy, and it's the same way probably with spirits, because I was looking into something called jinn, or like there's different kinds, or it's like a genie, like it's the Western version for it. So, and there's a bunch of different kinds, a bunch of different research you can do on it, and I was looking into it, and it's very interesting. But I gotta wrap this video up soon, because I'm going on 15 minutes. I should make a whole another video about the jinns, because there's a whole bunch of different classes apparently, and it's very common in Islamic literature, and in the Islamic world it's a very commonly held belief. It's not even considered like an old school belief. Like people still to this day, like kids and everything, people from Islamic countries, they still like, they have a very, it's because it's in their religion, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like Western people thinking that angels aren't real, because it wouldn't be too crazy. But you would think someone was crazy if they said they saw an angel. But in the Islamic world, if you say you saw a jinn, they're like, yeah, fucking that makes sense, because there are jinn, you know what I'm saying? There's apparently a lot, and because that's where the first cities were, advanced cities. So maybe they had technologies just beyond what we have. We think it's magic or spiritualism, but it's just some technology that we haven't delved into yet, because there's so many different branches the technological tree can take you, and the thought tree can take you. It seems to be more about willpower than, any static laws of the universe, anything like that, as we're seeing with stuff like quantum mechanics. And you don't know if there's, the science is up to date, or if they're even telling the truth, because a lot of the science is bought and paid for. The colleges are working off grants from the rich people, and they get funding if they say what the rich people want them to say, and that's pretty much how that one works. The colleges themselves aren't usually having enough money to pursue serious research into areas that would have a big impact. They're kind of like neutered, you know what I mean? Like the colleges, and they teach disinformation, I think, and I can't really prove that or say it even with 100% confidence, because a lot of the stuff they teach is actually true, but they also throw in some disinformation too to confuse you. And a lot of schooling, I think, if you've especially been in school in the USA, like, what were they doing? Like, making you write in cursive for, like, a whole freaking semester? I don't know how to write in cursive anymore. Or, like, making you memorize the multiplication tables that you don't even need to use for any reason. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that just has no relevance in the modern world that we live in. That the old school, it wasn't just the old school system. It was, I think, designed to be inefficient and sucky, so people wouldn't have critical thinking, and it's working because people don't have critical thinking, and they're not, accepting new ideas. People, even to this day, are still very kind of traditional. They say they're progressive, but if you won't even entertain the idea of spirits or jinn or anything, like, that's not in your religion, which is fucking silly. Even Islam, like, I think that's cool that they have the jinn or whatever, but I don't think that's like the ultimate truth behind everything, because I don't think anybody has a monopoly on the truth. Not even the Gnostics, who think they know everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got really good ideas, and they say Jesus was the first Gnostic, and those were actually his teachings, and it's just like, through perversion and whatever, certain stuff got left out, other stuff got put in, and the modern Bible was not even anything close to what Jesus was, talking about. Or it's like, either they got big dates wrong, they move stuff around, it doesn't make sense if you really break it down. Look at how they made the Bible in the first place, like the history of it. It's kind of like, or any religious text, if you get down to, it's not just the Bible. I had the same criticisms about the Quran or the Jewish Torah, or even the Hindu texts, which, come on, man, like, those are fucking fairy tales. Like, that can't be taken seriously, or maybe it can. Like, we don't know. I don't know, because, like, but I'm saying different people have different religions, and so maybe it's the people that make the religions, and not the religions that make people, because which would make sense for it to be first, unless the gods are something else, like not spiritual, actual things. So it's something else to contemplate, that the gods can be like an alien, like, the Covenant movies. Maybe we are put here by something else beyond us, and maybe that is why, like, the ancient Egyptian people were able to build pyramids, but we think they were only an agrarian society. So obviously, like, either they were getting some kind of help, or they were way more advanced than we thought that they were, or something. Because, like, people, like modern day construction people and engineers have been to the pyramids, and they'll tell you that it's not possible to do that. Even with modern technology, we can't recreate that. It would take, like, massive resources, and we wouldn't be able to get it like that, even if we put every bit of our, like, resources into it and really, really tried to grind it out. Like, like, it was harder than going to the moon, apparently, because, like, they said, like, going to the moon would be easier than trying to build, like, we go to the moon many times over before we could build one pyramid, because we just don't have the technology to mine and a line, and then put some. They had like because they're not like fused together. They're just put together like a puzzle. Like the whole pyramid's like a giant wood, like stone puzzle that fits perfectly together, and uses gravity to like sit there and hold it down. It's not they're they're not really like cemented together or anything like that. As far as I know, like it's just a huge structure that's just like intricately built, and they say it's an ancient power thing, like ancient power plant. It's got scorch marks on the inside. It's a bunch of really interesting stuff out there that I like got from listening to fringe people like Graham Hancock, but I don't know if he got the whole truth either. Like he's got some great ideas, and I would check that out if you want to get more stuff. He's a good, big inspiration, but also kind of like I think he's a fraud too. But everyone's like got flaws. If you're listening to a human being, including me, I got flaws, and I'm not going to be right about everything. So take everything with a grain of salt and come to your own conclusions, and make sure you do stuff with, like, as far as belief goes. If you don't make up your mind on it or not, it tends to just be a yes rather than a no. Like, if you're like, oh, I don't know whether to do this or not, and then you procrastinate, you'll probably not end up doing the right thing. You probably end up doing the shitty thing because it's easier usually to do the shitty thing, or you'll be self-centered, selfish, and screw somebody over because you didn't prepare properly. So at the last minute, you have to like steal from somebody, or blame somebody else or something like that, or lie to cover up something. Like you're gonna be taking the low road unless you make up your mind beforehand to take the high road. So if you're like, I don't know whether I'm gonna be good or bad, or I don't know whether this is, you always do know what's good or bad, because it's really easy if you have a conscience to be like, just put yourself into other person's shoes. Just do some mental projection and be like, yo, would I like this to happen to me? No, then it's bad. If you're doing something and you wouldn't want it done to you, then it's bad. And that's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated. There doesn't even have to be a bunch of laws or anything. Like, just don't do greedy, selfish things, and look out for yourself and look out for other people too, if you're able to, as much as you're able to. Because like that's what being in a community is, and that's what this modern world is lacking. It's lacking community, and people lack real life, face-to-face interactions. Because this screen time stuff is okay, but we're supposed to see each other in person, because like they've proved through quantum entanglement that it's actually different. Like you affect people by looking at them, and you have vibes coming off you, and science calls it is like completely missing on people's auras or vibes. Like they say it's not real. And if you live in reality and you're around people enough, then you know that's fucking nonsense. Some people don't have much an aura or much of a vibe. Either way, they're just trying to be neutral, and so it might fool you. But other people, you can tell, have either a good vibe or a bad vibe. And some people with bad vibes are really easy to pick out because they usually have a frown and stuck on their face. People call it resting bitch face. And they just have like a persistent bad attitude, which is morphed into like that's just the way they are and they're used to it. And it's like, god damn, like you can tell that their face is like actually stuck like that. Like they got frown lines instead of laugh lines. Ooh, it's like a fucking bad situation to find yourself like being around someone like that, because like it like almost offends them if you try and cheer them up. If you're like, don't you know the world sucks, or I think the world sucks, or whatever, and they can't just be you're never gonna convince them otherwise. And if you join them in the pity party thinking you're gonna like bluff them out of it, they'll just drown you too, man. Don't fucking join no pity party thinking you'll eventually cheer them up by joining the pity party. They'll just bum you out. So you can I just try and set my own vibes and be separate from them. And if they want to be around me, and if they come around, that usually means that they want to be around you and they're trying to get better vibes themselves. You don't try and impose your vibes on people. You just emanate them. I'm a bit of rambling here. I started off going about ghosts. Now I'm going on about vibes. There's so much that the government doesn't tell you. It's only my most salient point from this video, and I might edit it down to shorts or something like that. I don't know. I didn't even record this on the right thing. I just whipped out my computer and just see, it's not even going. It hasn't gone off since I don't know how to make it do that. Besides doing it like that, it just is like a cheap freaking. It's cost $1, so I don't think it came with a remote. If it did, I don't have it. Why would I have? You've like pretty much seen my hands. This, I don't know. Maybe this one hand's been off. I don't know. But I ain't been doing nothing with my hands. This ball doesn't go off that easy either. You kind of gotta whack it, or it don't go off. And it's that simple. So I hope that people can see actual proof of things that science probably cannot explain yet. And if you can debunk that, or you think you can debunk that, please let me know. I would be happy to talk to you. I am a genuine person, and I always try and breathe the truth to life out of my mouth. Well, not in my whole life, just recently. I used to be a big ass liar. That's why I think I can spot other people when they're lying most of the time. People have tells. And you just gotta get good at reading people's body language. Because people's mouths lie all the time, but somebody has to be like an actor to lie with their body. Because most of the time you're not even conscious of your micro expressions or your subtle body language at all. Because it's ran at an unconscious level. Since you can't keep up with all that kind of stuff. Like you're blinking, you're sniffing, your demeanor. They even have something called gait, which is the way you walk. Like how you walk, like which steps you usually use, how long your steps are, and they can recognize you off your gait. Yes. So we do live in a kind of a surveillance state, and they're not telling us shit anymore. Like, they know way more than they're telling us. Like, what's going on with the ball? I bet they have some kind of idea. I mean, they're not just like, the paranormal stuff's been going on, and we don't know, like, what the flying saucers are. We don't know what Bigfoot is. That's all a bunch of bullshit. Or, because maybe Bigfoot is bullshit, but the flying saucers, man, like, so many people have seen it, and there's the cattle mutilations. There's so much shit out there that it's like the government's just acting like, well, extraterrestrials aren't a thing, but maybe they are, because the UFO or the Navy just said they saw, or just declassified a bunch of stuff about how they used to chase around UFOs all the time. Maybe they're from another country, maybe they're from another world, and then the implications that might have. Like, is it freaking aliens trying to signal me? Or is it something from another dimension? Or is it a ghost? Or is it a djinn? And there's so many questions in it, I can't get no freaking answers. So, I'm looking for answers. And if anybody thinks I'm just lying about this like ghost stuff or just like shadow people stuff, I'm not freaking lying. They really happen, and I'm not crazy either. Like, you think only time I hallucinate is when I take drugs, and that make me hallucinate. And that doesn't even always happen. Like, some last 3 times I take acid, I ain't even hallucinate at all. Like, not even a little bit. Like, I just felt tripped out, and it's kind of hard to describe. And you might know if you've taken it before, but I ain't really seen nothing. And see, if you think it's acid flashbacks, those are fucking bullshit. That shit doesn't happen. It's just nonsense. It's made up. And, it's a mania. If anybody thinks they're having a flashback, they might be just having a panic attack instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not. Tripping is usually, this doesn't. And it wouldn't even if it came on suddenly, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing every time. Like, oh, I'm having a flashback, it's gonna be terrible. Like, sometimes you'd be like, oh, fucking yes, I'm tripping. So I'd never experienced anything like that, and I'm taking it a bunch. So that's just my personal experience. And this video's going on 30 minutes. I've been rambling on, talking to you, and the sun is setting. I got to go get me some fresh air. So keep it real out there in the real world. And be genuine and be kind. And to breathe the truth to life out your mouth when you speak. And you know what the right thing to do is. Ask your conscience. And if your conscience needs guidance, then get freaking guidance. You know what I'm saying? If you're just not, I don't know which one. I was raised in a barn. I think it's appropriate to eat with my hands, kind of shit. I mean, if you have fried chicken, of course it's appropriate to eat with your hands, but not the rice. I mean, come on, man. I guess common sense ain't so common anymore, but try and have more sense out there, people. I know I try. So, keep it real.